Are you ready to learn a whole lot about how to play defense, how to play coverage, how to shut down drag routes? Well, you're in the right place. Stay tuned as we check out the 5-wide trio and how to stop it. So I received a great question from Cavell Witter. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and it's about the 5-wide trio mesh. And in this playbook, it's a sub formation. So you'll notice on the left, we have 2 receivers that are close. We have a trio on the right. There's no screen out of this. There's really only 2 plays out of this. And we're going to look at these 2 plays and basically tell you how to stop them. And this video has spawned a whole lot of different types of coverages that I've been going through, and you're going to learn a lot in this video. And the first thing we're going to learn about is stopping drag routes. And you notice that I put my defensive ends on flats, and that puts them in perfect position to crack those drag routes as they go across the field. The flats move out very, very slowly, and they're able to stay low, stay tight to those drags, and they're covered. The only thing that we really have to worry about right now at this point when we're using a cover 2 sink is that post route, and we're going to guard that manually. And we'll take a look at this in replay, and you'll notice that every single route on this play is covered based off of this set, and it's okay for me to play a quarter set like I'm playing because, again, there's no run threat. And being that it is a 5-wide set, they can't audible out of anything that isn't 5 wide receivers. So even if they audible, we'll be in good position to make plays. And you can see in the replay the way that the inside flats wind up covering those drag routes. Now, if you're in a 4-lineman set, your best bet is to do that with your defensive tackles. It's all about having the inside linemen wind up going out in those flats, and they stay nice and low, and they really punish those drag routes, which can cause fumbles as well as incomplete passes. Another way we can attack this is with a blitz, and this is going to cause the offense to have to make a very quick read. And this blitz is already posted. I'll put the link down in the description below if you want to check it out. One of the keys is, notice the safety. I bring him down and to the right, so now I know that the weak side of the defense is to the left. And when you swoop, you're actually going to bring your linebacker right into that area that I'm illustrating right there. So as you go down to occupy the offensive lineman, you're going to go ahead and run back and play one of those routes in that position. Probably the post route. I would give up the drag and I would play the post personally because I don't want to give up the big gain. And then if he throws the drag, I'll go down and I'll wind up making the tackle. Now, you can set this up to look like the blitz, but now you're actually playing coverage, and you can see some of the adjustments here that I'm making. I'm manning up the post from the opposite side of the field, and that's going to help put a player in position to make a play on the break. And it might not cover it the whole time, but it will give the offense something to look at, and they may hesitate on the throw. You'll notice that I do have the flats on both the defensive end and the tackle to cover the drag routes. And right now, we're going to wind up covering basically everything on this play. And you notice that I do pick up late in that spot for the post, but I do wind up missing the play. It's very difficult for me to try to use her on defense while playing offense at the same time. But that's basically what you want. That man coverage is going to cover that A route initially, and you're going to have to pick it up late. And the reason why that's good is that it looks like it's going to be open, so the offense may throw it while you swoop underneath and get that interception. Now, you have to realize that on defense, you're never going to be able to cover everything. You're going to have to know the weakness in your defense, and you're going to have to make up for that with your user. So you're going to have to wind up covering the deficiencies and hopefully tricking someone into throwing the ball either at you or into your computer coverage. And that's what's going to allow you to get turnovers, to play defense, and to keep someone guessing. And that's really what you want. You're never going to be able to stop everything, but you want the person to hesitate, throw a ball late, throw a ball too early, and wind up throwing an interception. That's the best way to play defense. Another thing that I want to emphasize is being able to quickly set up your defense and make hot routes on defense. I've seen a few people that were complaining or basically saying that the setup to stop the PA end around was too much, but really it was only 3 hot routes. And you can see right here, I set this up in literally less than 2 seconds. You need to get faster. If making 3 hot routes on defense, if you can't do that before the offense is set up to snap the ball, then that's an extreme deficiency in your defensive game. You're going to have to get faster at it, and you're going to have to practice it. So that's something that I would highly suggest, especially when you play against formations and plays like this that require you to do things out of the scope of normal football to actually have a chance at stopping it. So you'll notice that the drag route does still get open for maybe about 2 to 3 yards. depending on the play, depending on if he breaks a tackle or if he falls forward. Now, another way to combat that is to play one of the drag routes yourself. So what you want to do is set up a defense that will cover the computer route. So we man up A with 2 players, we take our defensive end, put him in a deep blue. So what I'm going to do now is pretend that I'm playing the post, and then I'm going to run down for the drag and try to get the user pick, try to bait him into that throw. And usually I'll be able to get that pick, but again, like I said, I'm trying to play offense and defense at the same time. So that's a way that you can show an opponent the same look over and over again, and then meanwhile, you're scheming to actually cover routes that he thinks are manually covered with the computer, and you're running down to cover routes that are usually open against the computer. So that's a way that you can bait someone into throwing a pick. And right here, we're going to try it again from the opposite side of the field, but again, you'll notice it's still very difficult for me to play both sides of the ball at the same time, but I hope that you get the idea of what I'm trying to bring across here with this type of mindset and this type of scheming. And you can see in the replay that the drag would be covered by me manually. The coverage that we have used on the post is great because it brackets it, it covers it from both the outside and the inside and underneath. So if he does try to throw that post when he sees me run away from it, he's going to be throwing it and leading him into a whole bunch of coverage that's coming from the other side of the field. And that's very hard to see as an offensive player. So the next play that we're going to take a look at from this formation is the Y shallow cross. And again, this is in the sub formation, and we're going to use a nickel 3-3-5 to cover this. And there's only 2 hot routes. We're going to take our end on the left, we're going to put him in a flat, put our linebacker in a deep blue that's on the left side of the field, and just move him over to the right. We're going to user the linebacker on the right side. And this route that's over on the RB receiver just gets open against basically everything. And it's really a problem, but what it doesn't get open against is a late read on a cover 2 sink. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to play over on that side of the field, and then we're going to try to come across and try to snag one of those picks from the drag or from the in, and that's going to be what we're going to look at. And that's what we have to cover, that's what we have to do. We have to be able to get this player to look off that route on the right that's usually always open and make him throw it late into computer coverage that's going to wind up picking it. Or we have to make him look at that quickly, move away from it, and as he shifts his eyes, I'm moving over to the routes that he's looking to throw. Now that deep blue is going to wind up coming underneath that skinny post, so you do not have to worry about that skinny post that's going across the middle because the positioning is perfect. The yellow and the deep blue wind up covering that, so all you have to worry about are the drag and the in. Most likely, he's going to wind up throwing the drag. So I would go for the drag first. If he does wind up throwing the in, you'll notice that there is coverage around there. So if he does make the catch, he may possibly drop it because he's going to get hit on contact, or he's just going to throw it, catch it, get hit, and he's down right there. If someone wants to make a living on throwing in the coverage like that, I possibly might let them. Another thing that you might want to do is maybe put your nose guard in a yellow, and that could possibly help with the in and get another guy in position and hopefully cause a drop. So the thing that I really want you to take from this is understanding how to cover each of these routes with the computer, choosing which routes you want to cover with the computer, and then usering and baiting someone into a throw that you're actually going to wind up user covering. So that's the best way to play defense. And remember, you're not going to be able to guard everything with the computer or with setups. You're going to have to make up for the difference with your stick, with your user, and you're going to have to outsmart people. That's the best way to play defense, and hopefully you learned that through this video. So thanks for checking in. It's Big J Gleez signing out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and continue to game strong.